What is so important that you have to run out now, in the middle of the night, without even telling Raymond why? He's distraught. You can see it on his face, hear it in his voice. He used to be lost without you. Some people messed with me, and I don't intend on letting them get away with it. Could use your help. His eyes widened. I can't give you help like that anymore. I'm on a good path now, Scott. I can't afford to mess that up. Look, whatever's going on, I can tell you one thing. Raymond will not approve. Raymond doesn't approve of anything but the life of a wage slave. See you in a couple of days. You remember the look on Duncan's face as you walked away. The events that followed were a blur. One that you don't care to remember. 3 days later, you were behind bars in a private corporate prison. No interrogation, no charges, no appeal. Years later, some corporation bought some other corporation, and the new board of directors pushed through some sort of reform agenda, and the high-ups gave an order. And then you were out, with a few $100 million to your name, and one scary as hell non-disclosure agreement ensuring your silence. Not that it mattered to you anymore. You were starting fresh, determined. Until Raymond tracked you down, left you that voicemail, brought you to Hong Kong, and back together with Duncan Wu. You realize that Wu's been staring at you. Now let's hear it. Where the hell have you been all this time? Why didn't you contact me? At least to tell me you were alive. You're pissed that I didn't contact you? I was locked up, Duncan. For years. You're a cop. Why didn't you go looking for me? You think I didn't? I tried everything. You were completely off the grid. The information finally sinks in, and he dials back the attitude. And now I understand why. Locked up, huh? Shit. A range of emotions play across Wu's face. He stares at the ground for some time, before finally looking back up at you with a heavy sigh. Wow, I really didn't know how to process that one right now. He shakes his head. I don't know. If we're still alive tomorrow, we can talk more. This shit is too much. We're marooned on this island, hunted by the cops. My partner is dead, Raymond is missing, and we're about to go see a crime lord about erasing our goddamn identities. And as a bonus, our only allies are a pair of tiny criminals who would kill us if they could, so they didn't have to deal with this. He rubs his head viciously. Listen, Scott. Back in the Barrens, whenever I was out of control, you just handled the situation, remember? With Carter gone, I'm just a raw nerve. I'm afraid I'm going to slip back, and people are going to start getting hurt again. I got the lead, Duncan, just like I used to. He stares at you hard, like he's trying to see something inside your head. Then he checks his weapon, cocks and locks. Back to business. Good. Now let's go meet that triad woman and get our damn sins burned. I want to rip off the bandage as fast as I can. Well, we're back. This is episode 4. Shadowrun Hong Kong. I'm Scott McChicken. I'm playing blind, I haven't played this before, and so far it's pretty cool. Right, where to? Not much here. Guess I'm going out the waterfront. Kaoi, the makeshift boat city latched onto the Kai-Tak riverfront like a parasite. Behind you, a massive snarl of dark and derelict high-rises dominates the... Oh, missed it. I don't see a mahjong parlor. Frederick Cafe. Try a guard. Where am I going to go? Maybe I'll just have a wee look around first. Bolt hole. What is this bolt hole? The original name has been sloppily painted over with black paint. Newer but somewhat weathered characters have been painted in bold brushstrokes and read Bolt Hole. Mr. Cafe, what's up? That's close enough, friend. The club is members and invites only. I suggest you just move along. Come on, man, my friends are inside already. Can I just go around for a second? No. It's always worth a try. I know a guy who got into a club claiming that he'd left his insulin in there because he was diabetic. It worked too. The thug looks at you dead-faced, despite his street clothes. He wears a high-tech earpiece. The entrance to the walled city is closed to foreigners. Racist? What's that place? Is that mahjong? Looks like ramen. No, I'm not going to use the intercom just yet. Let me go over here. The insulation on these heavy wires is cracked. They buzz and crackle occasionally as stray drips from the awning strike them. Where's that smuggler? There he is. No, I'm supposed to go in there. In that case I will go back and use the intercom. First I'll talk to this guy. Just off the docks you spot a sea-worn man with a smile that's almost too wide for his head. His teeth shine white against the thick black bush of his beard. His clothes are a myriad of colors, patterns, and fabrics, a smattering of cultures draped across his body. If there's anything he's clearly advertising, it's the extent of his travels. You see something you like? His voice is coarse, like steel wool on your eardrums. Come and get it, because now's your last chance. Everything is on sale. Won't find prices like these anywhere else, my friend. You from around here? No, not I. Not here. Plans to leave these waters soon as I wrangle up enough supplies to do so. He leans toward you, voice low, breath surprisingly free of alcohol. There are things happening here. Locals call them dreams. I call them evil. And I don't want no more of that. What did you dream about? Does it matter? All I remember clearly is how I felt during and after. Drained. As if these dreams leached away some of my good years. No more of that. If you know what's good for you, you'll leave too. You're just scared. You're damn right I am. And I'm not afraid to say it. No. A man's ego is nothing in the shadow of these dreams. They're right unnatural. Show me what you're selling. What has this guy got in the way of... Oh, that's what I'm looking for. I will take one of those. Sell him my piece of metal. need to grab one of those. How much have I got? 739. I think I'm okay at the moment. I don't want to have one just in case I get nailed again like I did last time. I feel kind of stupid after that. I'm looking here. How much have I got? 6 karma. I might go for another body point before I do anything else. Can Duncan give me any of his stuff, or is it still locked? Where's all your gear, buddy? No idea what's going on there. I'm gonna not buy him something, see what happens. See if he ends up with a gun or if he's lost it or what. I think it'd be so cool to walk around a city that's like boats with pieces of wood together. So you walk from boat to boat and little trade stalls and buying stuff. That'd be cool. Where was I going? There, I believe. A massive steel security door is set into a bunker-like concrete wall. There is no sign or identification of what this place is. A battered intercom is encased in a cage of welded steel and armored glass. Grainy letters are barely readable on the screen. Chrome Alley. Medical services and mechanical repair. Premises protected by deadly weapons and infectious diseases. Press the buzzer. There's a crackle of static, and a brusque voice answers. What do you want? The voice's Cantonese is precise, but the accent sounds American. Knock knock, I need some medicine. Haha, very funny. Listen guy, I don't know you. I don't like people I don't know. What are you doing here? Who sent you? I'm one of Kindly's people. Really, huh? I'll just check on that. And there's a long static-laden silence on the intercom. Then it reactivates long enough for 2 words to reach you. Fuck off. Looks like that's about it. Let's head on in. Hopefully I don't have to deal with that guy. The swift winds of Mahjong parlor, filled with the stink of cigarette smoke, the incessant click-clack of Mahjong tiles, and the grim faces of hardened gamblers. Come in, we have a lot to talk about. You can feel every eye in the room as you cross the mahjong parlor to the middle-aged woman sitting patiently at its end. The click-clack of ivory-colored tiles stops. Hands stray beneath tables, into jacket pockets, behind backs. The woman has the face of a prison guard and the demeanor of an inmate. Her salt and pepper hair is pulled into an iron-hard bun, and beneath it 2 shiny black eyes offer nothing. Buttons sewn onto a doll. Nearly empty bottle of something foul rests on her mahjong table. Nestled between a pair of dirty shot glasses, tiny puddles of brown linger at their bottoms. Gobbet and Isabel stand on the other side of the table, heads lowered, shoulders slumped, hands clasped. They risk a frightened glance at you as you approach. Kindly Ching's voice is nail and rusty mean. My little pair of fuck-ups here told me about what happened on the docks. She dips a pinky into a shot glass, brings it to her mouth, removes it with a sharp smack. How 2 of my best runners had their heads put out. How you need protection, and how you need to get your identities wiped before you get your heads put out too. Potentially leading the heat to my front door, placing me and everyone in my employ in danger. She fingers the rim of her glass. So wise, so very, very wise. The young shaman's eyes never leave the floor. We're sorry, Auntie. We thought... Her black eyes flash. You mustn't speak until you are spoken to, Gobbet dear. The smile turns mean. And since you are one short hair away from being dumped into the river chained to Isabel's corpse, I suggest you let your new friend's hair do the talking for a while. Does that make sense to you, dear? Her treacle voice is back. Sweet, nasal, and grinding. Dark circles ring Gobbet's armpit. Yes, Auntie. Ching inclines her head gently. Very good. You learn so quickly. Just remain silent. She pours another drink. Her cheeks are rosy, already flushed. Now, my darlings, I understand from little rat shit here you came from Seattle to meet my client, Mr. Black. Wu's jaw tightens at the word client. But before you could find him, HKPF started splattering grey matter everywhere, and everything went to shit. And now you need your sins burned so you can disappear before you end up dead too. Is that right? Is that possible? She smiles. It's 2056. All things are possible. Why don't we start with you telling me who you are? Call me McChicken. Oh, you've already chosen a street name. Oh, you've already chosen a street name. How prescient of you. Ching looks at you approvingly. McChicken. It's a good name. Has real character. She flutters her eyelashes at you. Now what's your real name? I mean, do you want me to erase your identities? Don't you? I'll need to know who you are first. Scott, I do know what needs doing. She rests her chin on her hand. I know the type. And how did you become someone who does what needs doing, Scott? Picked it up young. I've been in the cooler a few. Wu's brow furrows and he shakes his head. Still can't believe it. Kindly Ching whips her head towards Wu, a nasty return already on her lips, but then she stops, sticks out her lower lip, and she sizes him up. She turns to her lieutenant standing behind her, nodding her approval. Looks like the gun show is in town. What's your name, gun show? Wu's focus remains straight ahead. Duncan Wu. I'm a cop. Lone Star. I hear there were some fresh corpses found in the docks tonight. Smugglers, I believe. Didn't sound like the Hong Kong police when I heard about it. You're doing Duncan Wu? Wu's eyes remain fixed on a spot on the wall behind her. He smolders. I identified myself as Lone Star, but they wouldn't stand down. They had weapons. It was self-defense. She puckers her lips at him, her voice sing-song. I don't care, sweetie. They weren't my people. But now I know you're a life-taker, Mr. Gunshow. You and your friend here. She begins arranging mahjong tiles on the table in front of her. But now I'm curious. Why were you meeting Raymond Black on the docks tonight? He's a friend who said he needed our help. Ching's black eyes flash. Really? You have a lot of 65-year-old friends who you'll fly around the world to help? He raised us. Raymond Black is our foster father. That makes her pause. Ching lifts her bottle of swill and eyes the label, connecting the dots in her own head. Interesting. A look of disgust passes over her face. Sorry, kids, but he was looking like shit when I saw him. Eyes half open, dark circles around them, dragging his feet, the whole bit. She tisks in displeasure. Your foster daddy was in a bad place. Sounds like he wasn't sleeping. Could be. From what he said, it sounded like he was having nightmares. He would stop in the middle of a sentence and mutter something to himself. One time it was about the walls breathing or something. Another time it was about teeth. Thousands of teeth. I remember him drifting off near the end of our meeting. It looked like he was off somewhere else in his head. He said, I left Prosperity in there. Then Nightjar put his hand on Mr. Black's shoulder, asked him why he wanted to go to the walled city so badly. That seemed to bring him back. When your old man opened his eyes, they were full of tears. Then he muttered something else I couldn't make out. She pours herself another shot, tosses it back and rubs her belly. Your daddy got really irritating after a while. I can imagine. She grabs a long, slim cigar from a pack on the mahjong table, lights it. Alright, let's get to it. She exhales smoke and points two fingers at you and woo. You two need your sins burned, and you need them burned fast. Hong Kong dragnets are bad news. When they roll in force. Armored personnel carriers, heavy armor, heavy weapons, sorcerers, the whole thing, and they aren't coming to arrest you. She folds her arm across her chest. The thin cigar bobs in her mouth as she speaks. The good news is, I can help you. With a wave of my hand, I can have your sins disappear. But you need to understand, my darlings, is that what you're asking is not a simple request. Burning a sin isn't just deleting a number. It's wiping all reference to that number from all of the world's largest databases. It's masking your mugshot in the facial recognition database so that the first camera you walk past doesn't bring them down on you like a ton of bricks. It's covering our fucking tracks so that the act of burning your sin doesn't lead them right to us. It requires contacts in numerous corporations and the UCAS government. Smoke rolls out of the Triad boss's nose. It requires someone like me. Therefore, I need to make a choice. She takes another drag on her cigar and gently places her palm flat on the table. Do I kill you and dispose of your bodies before the cops come looking for you? Or do I help you burn your sins? I know my vote. Ching rests her chin on her hand again and smiles at you. I know, my darling. You want to live. But if you're alive... She stares at you for a moment, chin still in her hand, thinking. Taps her ash on the floor without taking her eyes off you. A low, reluctant growl rumbles somewhere deep in her throat. Okay, you live for now. I'll put your sins to the torch. However, I'll need to call in several valuable favors within my network to do it, and those favors do not come cheap. Kindly Ching stubs out her cigar. You owe me. Whatever you say, Auntie. Don't roll over so easily, my darling. People will think you're an ass-kisser. It's unbecoming. I want you to deliver a message for me, to a business associate in the walled city. The Yellow Lotus has a strong presence inside Scott. Isabel can tell you all about it, can't you, dear? Isabel grew up in the walled city. Isabel's eyes remain lowered. They collect taxes from the corporations, extort protection money from shopkeepers, run drugs, guns, people. They hurt people. We do these things, yes, but to be fair, we also operate the walled city's black market. You might not be alive today if it weren't for the lifeline that we provide. Isabel clams up tight. Ching picks up a mahjong tile and turns it with her fingers. There is a red pole A sort of enforcer, yes? On the inside. His name is Strangler Bao. Bao is a strong man, a good soldier, but he has forgotten his place. I need you to remind him. Want us to make an example of him? Did I say that you wanted to make an example of him? No, I want you to deliver a message. She tosses you a memory stick. Bring this to him in my name, and remember that Bao's men are my men. By right, they should all be serving me. Killing them would be a waste of resources. I have no use for dead soldiers. She turns to Gobbet and Isabel. One of you will go with these two Westerners to the walled city, help them locate Bao, and show them the ropes. The other will remain here with me. I have several menial and degrading tasks that need doing around the establishment. No matter who goes and who stays, you'll both pay for bringing an APB to my doorstep. Yes, Auntie. Yes, Auntie. Now, I'm going to find out who ordered the hit on Nightjar and do some dentistry on him with power tools. She closes her eyes and smiles with pleasure. That boy was my favorite. He sang to me sometimes. She opens her eyes again and sneers. That other one, I don't care about. Gutshot was an asshole. She turns away and waves you off with the back of her hand. That will be all, my darlings. Return to me when you are done. And one last question, Auntie. She keeps her back to you, but you can tell she's making eye contact with her lieutenant. Why not? Apparently I'm feeling generous today. What do you think happened to Raymond and got your Shadowrunners killed? Kindly Ching's voice is small. I don't know. Right, that was quite some exposition. I'm going to wrap it up there, and I'll be back, hopefully with a little more action next time. Scott McChicken, signing off.